Alright, I have myself set up there on my drawing board, and I can hopefully show you how to do drawing with one-point perspective. So in order to do this, I'm using a non-photo blue pencil and a fine line black marker to do this. The reason for that is you will see shortly. So what I need to do first is I'm bringing my ruler up here so that I can get a line across. I have to look up every once in a while and make sure that I'm not out of frame here. So I'm drawing a line all the way across my piece of paper here, and that line is going to represent the horizon. I'm going to darken that in. What I usually do is I draw things in blue line that I maybe want to have disappear at some point, and come back in later and darken in a line that I want to keep. So what I'm doing here is I'm drawing in the horizon line rather dark. Now that I have the vanishing or the horizon line, I can establish a vanishing point. I'm going to put a little dot right there on the horizon and put a VP next to it. You can do that when you're doing underlay drawings and things like that you don't really worry about or care about. So now we're going to establish some lines from that vanishing point outward to draw a cube. So I'm going to draw a line here like that, and a line like so. Now, one-point perspective is kind of like looking right down a railroad track. So you're just looking straight towards the horizon, and the vanishing points are going directly, or the lines are going straight to that vanishing point. Because it's one-point perspective, the lines for the back and the front of your box or cube or whatever will be parallel to the horizon line. So I'm going to draw another line here. That represents the back edge of my box. Come down here a little bit further and draw another one, and that'll be the front edge of my box. Again, because this is one-point perspective, my upright lines are going to be perpendicular or 90 degrees to my horizon line, and I'm going to draw my box just a little bit below the edge of the horizon line so that I can see the top edge of my box. And it'll probably end up being more like a rectangular cube. This is the front edge of the box here. And now, of course, the lines for the sides go back to the vanishing point like so. And then the lines that form the back corners of the box appear here and here. And that's the back edge of the box there. Now, to darken this in so that we can see it, what I prefer to do, pull my drawer here, is I usually establish a hierarchy of lines. And I'm going to do that by drawing the front edge of this box fairly dark. So I'm going to give it a couple of passes so the front edge of that box is fairly good and dark, like so. Now, if we're drawing through things, I'm going to make the bottom edge of this line just a single line, because, you know, I'll explain this here in a moment. You generally only draw in or darken in lines where there is air on the other side of that line. I'll explain that here in just a second. So I'll draw these lines in fairly dark, and this line along the back fairly dark. Like that. The hierarchy of lines helps you because you can say, oh, well, there's air around this corner of the box. You know, there's space there. So I can draw a little line here with an arrow saying, yeah, there's air around this side of the box, just like there is over the top. You know, there's air beyond the back side back here. So you would see a darker line. Around this side here, just as it comes over this edge, maybe not so, because there's a surface here and a surface there, so you wouldn't have a dark line there. I very often make people draw things where you show hidden lines. In that case, you would add lines inside of the box as well. And that's more or less to keep you honest about the fact that, you know, your box really does make sense, and that the lines go to where they're supposed to go. Now, coming up next here, I'm going to draw a box that is completely distorted, completely out of whack. And I'm going to show you that, to show you why that's so. Alright, so the next one here that I'm going to draw is going to be over here someplace. I think I can still see that in the frame up here. Yeah. So this one's going to be kind of distorted, and I'll explain why that'll be. Maybe this won't be as distorted as I think, but we'll see. So anyway, I'm going to go over here, and then I'm going to come back up right here and establish a line. And this is going to be the equivalent of this line. It's going to be the top of my cube, and it's going to come down like that. And then I'm going to draw another line along for the bottom. I'm going to draw this one more cube-like. There we go. I think you can see that. I'm still in frame. Alright, so and this isn't turning out anywhere near as distorted as I would have hoped. But the reason is, the further away that you get out here, you know, from the vanishing point, the more distorted your cubes are going to become, and that's because of the same condition that we have that exists in two-point perspective, which is called the cone of perspective. You get too far away from the vanishing point and things begin to distort. So that's the back edge of my cube, and this will be like so. Now these 2 points should go back to the vanishing point, and they do. So there we have another cube out here. Now to draw this one like I drew the other one, in order to get the lines looking the way that they're supposed to, I'm going to go ahead and darken that line in, because there's air around the back side of it, and this one because there's air around the back side of this one, and here. So kind of like a double line on all these surfaces. It has air around the back side of it. Not so here on the bottom, because the cube is resting on a surface. So just a single line there will do, and here as well, because we want everyone to believe that that cube is actually sitting on a plane. And again, here, because there's a surface here and a surface there, and here because there's a surface there and there, and then there again because there's a surface on either side. So that gives you another idea of how this cube, and they're both drawn to the same vanishing point. The lines are going to the same space. And I could draw one above, which would probably look about like that. If I flip the paper over, it would suffice, but I'm going to draw one up here. I'm going to draw this one just a little bit smaller. Kind of make you believe it's a little bit further away than these two. Now my straight edge that you can hear going up and down here has cables on either side of it. It's acting the same as your T-square will. It's just keeping my ruler here parallel with the surface. Like so. Like so. So let's draw this one as though it's a long box, kind of like what you would expect a tube of toothpaste to come in. So it'd be like this and like that. And then we'll go back and we'll add our lines. So this line here, of course, is going to be dark because there's air beyond it up on the upper part. And this one isn't because there's a surface on either side of it. So just one line there will do. Didn't even hit the paper. There we go. And this one here, of course, is going to have two lines, or a double line, because it's got air on the other side of it. Same thing here. And here. My pencil's trying to escape on me here. The disadvantages of having a surface that's at an angle like this. And then we draw in this surface here, one line, and that surface there, one line. So that gives you an idea about how one-point perspective works with a single vanishing point on the horizon line. Next I'm going to be talking to you about, what would I be talking to you about? Oh, I'm going to be talking to you how to stack cubes and move them so that, say for instance, I have this cube here already drawn, and then I want to draw a series of cubes going back, and I want to make sure that all of those cubes are drawn the same in perspective. So we will take a look at that here shortly. Okay? I hope this helps, and see you in the next video.